Hello and welcome to Re-Watchability. I'm Izaiah. Today's episode's Gone Girl. Heather Stewart, Betsy Gorham joining me to talk about this absolutely deliciously evil film. I hope you enjoy.
Nick Dunn, you're probably the most hated man in America right now. Did you kill your wife, Nick?
Everyone told us marriage is hard work. Not for me and Nick.
As you all know, my wife, Amy Elliott Dunn, disappeared 3 days ago. I had nothing to do with the disappearance of my wife. I have nothing to hide.
Has Amy got friends we can talk to?
No, not really.
You don't know if she has friends, you don't know what she does all day, and you don't know your wife's blood type.
Just being a good guy, so everybody can see him being a good guy.
Well, you really don't like him, do you?
All I'm trying to do is be nice to the people who are volunteering to help find Amy.
I will practice believing my husband loves me, but I could be wrong.
You ever see that guy in the glasses before?
Amy's the kind of girl who attracts admirers.
Whoever took her is bound to bring her back.
I'm hoping you can tell me what this means.
Want to solve Amy's treasure hunt?
You seen this girl around here?
Yeah, I remember her.
I know you. I saw you at the volunteer center.
I wanted to help.
What'd she want?
She wanted a gun.
We are all scared, but we are all here now.
I feel like something to be jettisoned if necessary. I feel like I could disappear.
The hallmark of a sociopath is a lack of empathy.
Amy lost a lot of blood in there, then somebody mopped it up.
Why do they mop up the blood if they're trying to stage a crime scene?
Whatever they found, I think it's safe to assume that it's very bad.
I'd finally realized I am frightened of my own husband.
I would show you, as if you're doing a deposition, what to say, what not to say.
A trained monkey?
A trained monkey who doesn't get lethal injection.
She's going to eat you alive.
You assaulted her?
It's not good enough for you? I hit her?
It's not even close.
Absolutely not. I never touched her.
We now believe Nick is involved in the disappearance of our daughter.
Without a body, without a murder weapon, their only hope is a confession.
Don't know anything yet? You need to tell me.
How was your marriage, Nick?
Are you asking me if I killed my wife?
Man of my dreams, this man of mine may kill me.
What about my son? Nick!
This man may kill me. In her own words,
This man may truly
kill me.
You ever hear the expression, simplest answer is often the correct one?
Actually, I've never found that to be true.
Well, ladies, welcome to the pod. It's nice having you here. I've been awaiting this episode for quite a while. You're the first. You're welcome. You were the first female guest I've had. Every time I try to offer, yes. Every time I'm like, "Come on," they're all, "No, I'm good. I'm good." And it's just
why wouldn't you want to have two women talk about kind of
toxic
women?
Two cool girls.
I don't know. Like, it's just I feel like the podcast became too film bro-y, and I'm like, I've got to fix this before I lose all the women.
Yeah, the problem being is that I actually kind of identify as a film bro, so with my taste. So this is Fincher. It's film bro territory. So
yeah, very film bro. Oh man. So welcome to the pod. Betsy is one half of Never Seen It with Betsy and Trent, and Heather Stewart. Thank you for coming on as well. Okay, we're going to start with this. I always ask all the guests, what made you fall in love with movies? Let's start with Betsy first.
Oh, that is such a big question. Usually, my go-to answer for this is I grew up in South Dakota on a farm in the 80s and 90s where we didn't have the internet, we didn't have cable TV, but we did have a VCR. So getting a lot of stuff off the shelf, or my grandparents had a lot of tapes. That was usually where I started. And so I was always exploring new movies because it's like, well, what's something I can get into that's not going to cost me a whole lot of money? And that is what I landed on. So it's stuck with me ever since.
What about you, Heather? What made you fall in love with movies?
Yeah, I mean, same. I think also being in grandparents' house, then being very into old movies, watching a lot of older things, black and white, and then gradually discovering them for myself and what I liked and going to the cinema. And I really think kind of around a certain age, there wasn't much else to do. You were maybe too young to, at that time I was living near London, and I was a little bit too young to go up to the big city and a bit too old to, to go to play parks or whatever. And the cinema was somewhere to go, hang out in the shopping mall, go to the cinema, grab some popcorn, and I guess that's why I went, I think, kind of between the ages of maybe 11 and 18, 17, 18, I just went probably every week, I guess, to the cinema, and then watching stuff on television, all the reruns, things that were maybe a little bit too young to watch, then sleepover parties with friends, going to Blockbuster Video. Some of us might be too young to remember this. It's part of the childhood if you're a certain age, going, hoping that it would be available, the film you wanted to watch, and just seeing how many you could watch without falling asleep in front of the television at that age. So, yeah.
Oh, those are great reasons. Where were you when you first watched Gone Girl?
In the cinema.
I saw this in the movie theater the year it came out.
Yep, same.
And I haven't watched it again until last night.
Same. Yeah. I mean, not this week, but yeah. Yep.
I would have been 9, so I wouldn't have been able.
Right.
Yeah, I was
you would not have been allowed in the theater, nor should you have been watching it.
Gosh, let me see. I watched this. We ended up going on family vacation, and by miracle, I got my own room. Hallelujah! And it had a TV. It was the biggest room in the entire beach house too, which was awesome. So luckily, I brought headphones, and they were able to plug into the TV. And of all the movies that I wanted to see, it was Gone Girl. Plugged my headphones up to the TV, sat on the edge of the bed for 2.5 hours, and watched the most disturbing marriage. I loved it. I was probably, I don't know, 15, 16. I'm like, this movie's great.
Oh, goodness, that is an age to watch that at, yeah.
I would think if a teenage boy watches this, they would have a lot of feelings about relationships and the women to watch out for. if
they all like this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Amy's quite a character.
That's one way to put it.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of things. So I don't know where you want to start. Do you want to start with the Oscars and Rosamund Pike being the only nomination of this entire movie? Do you want to do favorite scenes, favorite quotes?
I mean, we could jump right in and just talk about Rosamund Pike, because she is this movie. Yeah, you could literally teach like an entire class about just what she is doing and her character in this movie. I kind of forgot that this was only nominated for that one Oscar, because you assume, David Fincher, he's kind of an Oscar darling. He gets brought up several times, especially now that there's 10 nominees. But this is 11 years ago now, so my memory was a little fuzzy. And we looked it up and we're like, oh, this is literally the only Oscar nomination it got.
Didn't even get the screenplay.
No.
Which is surprising, because sorry, I have to get her name right. It's Gillian, although I just want to say Gillian, but it's Gillian apparently.
Yeah, I forget.
What? Gillian. Okay, Gillian. We'll pronounce her name correctly. Gillian Flynn, and she even adapted it from her own book. That was a real surprise. I was convinced it must have gotten to adapted screenplay, but no.
Yeah, it's crazy. It baffles me. It was even edited so well.
Yeah.
When we get into the Desi death scene, like even the way that was edited, I'm like, why? Just no editing nomination. It was ridiculous. And
the cuts, the sudden cuts as well. It just does that so well. When you go from middle of Nick's story and then suddenly she's driving along the highway and saying, "Life is so much better now. I'm dead."
Yeah, it's just, and it's
first of all,
and it's smooth, and it's just so smooth the entire movie. You do not feel the time. You don't feel the weight of anything. It's just boom, done. I was I watched it last night.
Movie.
Yeah, it is a long movie, but I was watching it last night. I'm like, oh, I forgot to watch this week. I gotta watch it. I'm so exhausted, but it felt like an hour and a half. Boom, done. It's crazy.
I'm off to go and see. This is one bit of prep I didn't do, but I am off to go and see what else there was that year, because I know who won. I think it was what's her face?
Julianne Moore. Yeah, she won.
Oh, okay,
she won. But what else was there?
I have the list right in front of me.
Great, good.
We have Marion Cotillard for 2 Days, 1 Night. Felicity Jones for The Theory of Everything. Reese Witherspoon for Wild, and then the winner, of course, was Julianne Moore for Still Alice.
I've only seen Still Alice once, and yes, she's good in it. But if I had my rathers, I probably would pick Rosamund Pike because she is so committed to this absolutely insane woman. But she doesn't consider herself insane. She just is a woman who is outraged. And this is how she chooses to enact that rage. And it is something that none of us would probably ever consider. We wouldn't spend the time doing it. We wouldn't dedicate our entire life to ruining another human being's life. And it's wild. It is completely wild, the turn this movie makes, because you're being shown, oh, they had this lovely relationship and everything was sunshine and rainbows, and he's clearly the bad guy. And then when you find out what's actually going on, you're just like, oh, she's nuts.
Do you know what I did not remember from 2014 when I first watched it? And I thought, okay, so I have to also say that I read the book before I saw the film as well.
Awesome.
So that's, that I think I would like to have that conversation with you as well. Like, how is it if you see the film first and then, because of course I was going into it knowing the twist, right? But what I didn't remember watching it this time was that the entire diary was made up. I thought that the beginning, because there was some truth in it, because they did ask Nick, they said, did this happen? Did this? And then she's like, oh, and he's like, oh no, that happened. That did not happen. But I don't think I certainly did. Maybe I realized at the time, but I didn't remember that she'd made it entirely up from scratch when she was, sitting at home baking crepes or whatever she was doing and making her diary up. I genuinely thought that the early entries at the time were real, and then at what point she then decided to enact this revenge or justified revenge, as she said. I thought it was I thought that was when she started making things up, but no, it was all from that point. So I couldn't remember that at all. Well, insane.
I also forgot about that, but I haven't actually read this book, so I have kind of a different perspective because I don't know how closely related it is in like the structure, or if she's pretty faithful to it, because I know
she is.
The blessing of doing it yourself, doing the adaptation, is she does get that creative control, and she can choose to leave in or leave out anything she wants to.
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to go into this now, because I actually did, because I didn't get through the book in time. I was busy watching films and stuff on holiday. I had great plans, but I didn't get through it all. But I did make a note of some of the key differences, which we can go into now or go into later. I mean, whatever.
You can go into them now. I didn't get a chance to read the book, so just go ahead.
Okay, I mean, ultimately, it's not, to your point, Betsy, because she's adapting her own book. She knows what she can leave out and what's not so important and what is important, which is often different in adaptations where they're like, well, why did they leave that out, or why did they change that? And but yeah, it's complete creative control, as you say. So I mean, some of them are really minor, like there is so when they meet, and then apparently there's a time gap of 8 months between them meeting and them actually getting together. So they meet at this party. This is all kind of true. They have the thing with the touching the lips with the snow,
sugar,
the sugar. That's all true. But then he loses her number, or he washes his jeans or something. That's her story anyway, of course. And then it's 8 months until they randomly meet again in New York City. As you do. I think that's very minor. There's in her treasure hunt, the ultimate treasure hunt, the 5th anniversary treasure hunt. There's more clues. She sends him out of town as well to another place. Again, not so relevant. It's just another, place that he was unfaithful to her, and he was sent there. Her parents have a larger role in the book. His dad has a larger role in the book, as opposed to just that one scene in the police station in the film. And I don't remember this. I didn't get that far in rereading, but it's almost kind of implied that he might have had something to do with her disappearance, apparently, in the book as well. What else have I got here? So she has, in the book, they make it out, I don't know whether it's true or not, she makes it out that she has a fear of blood as well. The blood is spilt in a different way. So in the film, she's doing with the IV drip. And in the book, it's a paper cutter. Oh, sorry, a box cutter. So presumably the same box cutter, I guess.
Oh gosh, that's even more gnarly.
Yeah, but the thing is, and this is one of the things that they bring up as like kind of like a plot hole. It's like, well, if she's, where's the wound then? Why is nobody questioning if she's kind of say, where's the wound, and why is she not fainting if she's lost all that blood? So, Tommy, the guy that she accused of raping her it was a former boyfriend, and she accused him of raping her. And then he couldn't have live a normal life in the film. He was on the sex offenders register and all this kind of thing. No, in the book, she dropped charges. So he, obviously tormented and everything. Of course, that somebody had accused him of this, but didn't have that. And then, what's this? Okay, this is another one. She apparently in the book, again, I don't remember this, but again, it's been a while since I've read it. She poisoned herself in the book, made herself be sick, and kind of kept that as proof in case she ever needed to blackmail Nick to say, you were trying to kill me. So
that wicked woman.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like the changes that they made are to really emphasize this woman is committed to the bit.
Yes.
She's cold-blooded.
Yes, that's right. But also I would say as well, just in the book, that Nick also comes off a lot more, a complete asshole as well. I mean, he's not great in the film, but I think and again, I will have to ask you about this, because obviously I read the book first. In the book, he really is, he's awful, and it could well be that he did it. You don't quite know who to believe. It's both very unreliable narrators. But he's definitely, he comes, I think the movie is probably more sympathetic towards Nick than the book is. And I wanted to, I'd like to ask you, having not read, seen the film first, not read and read the book, do you always think that Nick is innocent?
That's a good question.
That is a really good question.
Because I think in the book you're not always so sure. But I can't tell about the film because obviously I read the book first. So
I feel like you do think he's innocent, but it's just to what extent. And as they unfold the story more, knowing like other movies that Fincher has made and other movies that are like this, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that there is a twist, and the twist is no, he did do it. If you've ever watched something like The Usual Suspects, where it's just like the 11th hour twist, drop the bomb, run away. It could be something like that. But having it be someone like Ben Affleck, where you're like, is this a guy, an actor that we as the populace look at and think he's capable of this? Because my husband actually asked me that last night. He was like, do you think this is like a risky role for Ben Affleck? And I said, I don't know if it's risky, but it's definitely different from things that we've seen him in. So the whole movie, you're kind of going, I'm used to nice guy hero Ben Affleck in most things he's in. Or if he's bad, he's a flawed human, but you don't think he's capable of like really awful things. He's just kind of an asshole. And in this, the more you hear and you're seeing, the flashbacks, which are just her side of the story, which you assume are real, it does paint him in this picture of, oh, maybe he's really a bad guy. And it starts to make you question what you're looking at. Like there's a flashback where she says, I want to have a baby. And then we go to the present day and he says, she never said, she always
That's a great cut.
Kids.
That is
and that's before the reveal. So you're like, wait, but in the flashback, in the diary, she said she wanted kids. So it's very misleading like the whole time. And like with Ben Affleck in particular, that's how I kind of felt about it. I'm not like a Ben Affleck stan. I think, I know too much about his personal life.
Me neither. Yeah.
But, I don't think he's a bad person per se. And he, as I touched on, doesn't play these kinds of roles. So my assumption going in most of the movie is that he is innocent. And it's not until we get to the reveal that you're like, oh no, he's definitely innocent and she is insane. But up until that point, I could see how you might think, well, wait, I have to ask the question. Are we being misled?
Because as I said, I've been rereading the book and there's just bits of it where it splits one chapter his point of view in present time and one chapter her memory. So it's kind of like the diary. That's how they portray it in the book. Yeah. It is like a diary. In fact, I think it's a diary entry. Let me just check. But yeah, it's so it switches. This is it always tells you who's currently you are listening to, whether it's true or not. But there's points throughout his part of the narrative where it says, oh, this is the 11th time I've now lied to the police. But you don't know, you don't realize it, because he says, oh, this is the 5th time I've lied. And you're like, wait, let's go back and reread what he said to the police, because you don't know what those 5 lies were. And apart from just the one that he said, that's my 5th lie. And then there's another bit where he says, that's the 11th lie I've told them. And you're like, what? It's only been 2 more pages. What's going on? So it's really interesting, just like those little seeds of doubt. And you're already wondering. And at that point, you just have her point of view. So you just have it as, what you would be reading in this diary. So it's, I think there's certainly more seeds of doubt that he is definitely an unreliable narrator as you're reading it, and you don't quite have that with her yet. So it's interesting.
In the movie, it's more. He clearly is ready for a divorce, and he's not really. He should be concerned that his wife has disappeared, and now he has to act like he cares. And that is a really tough spot, because it's like the worst thing at the worst time, because he was literally walking in that house to ask for a divorce. And instead now they're on a big manhunt trying to find his wife. And nobody knows what happened to her. And the whole time he has to pretend like he is a deeply loving husband, because the media only cares about how he is acting in this moment. And we get to see the other side where it's just like, he's just a bad person. He's just over this relationship. He doesn't want to be a part of this. This is very difficult for him. And all those moments where he smiles and poses for pictures and stuff, he cannot help himself. And it's only after he does it that he realizes, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Like, can I get that? Can you give me your phone? And she's like, no, just like.
Yeah. He's like, no, I shouldn't. Yeah, because he realizes he's like, I shouldn't have done that. Can you delete that? And she's like, no.
Yeah. For me, their marriage was based purely on pleasure, and as time went on, the recession hit. They had to move back to Missouri from New York. Everything just gets worse and worse for both of them, and they're to the point where there's nothing there. There's nothing. So she just sits alone and writes diary entries of what the life she wanted to have or something like that, and he's just having an affair with the college student because they're both just so miserable. And they're at the point of misery where he has to fake caring about her when she disappears, and she is so bored and miserable that she wants to plot revenge because he cheated on her.
Yeah, so I think, that was one of the things. I think that is the point when she discovers the Andy relationship. That's probably the point, I guess, when she starts, planning and saying, okay, I'm gonna get my revenge. Up to then, she was just miserable being in Missouri,
sitting at
moved there from New York. I mean, and then stuck there without her career. And that was her career, was being a writer, right? I mean, well, writing quizzes, but but she was a Harvard graduate. She, very intelligent. So, I mean, clearly, because it's brilliant what she actually ended up doing. I mean, completely psychotic, but written her a bit with actually one of the best people in it, with Tyler Perry, where he says, "Oh, she's just something like she's just brilliant." She's crazy but brilliant. I'm paraphrasing here. But
no, I believe you. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard, but that's what makes it brilliant.
Yeah.
I love him. He's so good in that.
He was so great.
He's getting away from Rosamund, but he's great.
It's the rare straight role he gets to do, and in this movie, he just shows up, and you're like, yes, you're
so
awesome.
Good. I believe the very minute you see him. Yeah.
Have you listened to the Re-Watchables podcast?
Yeah.
I have not.
Oh, yes. Really good. Well, they did an episode on Gone Girl, and I believe Bill Simmons was like, I didn't like Tyler Perry in this because I thought he was going to do Medea at any time. And I'm like, no, come on, Bill. You got to separate that.
He's like the best thing in it.
Yeah, and I think my thing is I've not actually seen any of the Medea movies.
No.
So I'm able to separate the two things.
The only thing I've seen him in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So.
See, yeah. But I wasn't worried he was going to break out into Medea. I learned to separate character from actor. But some people clearly don't have that problem. Okay. Best scenes. Do you want to go with that? Let's start out discussing. Do you have any favorites?
I feel like just the turn, like the reveal, like, okay, she has been plotting this for months. This is what's really going on. And it's just like a couple of minutes where she breaks down her plan, befriend an idiot, like the way
local idiot
of this woman. And, you're going to have to bleed and break the toilet and also write an entire diary. And they just show her, like doing facials and like kicking her legs like a little schoolgirl writing in her fake diary. And she does the thing that you described, Heather, where the best way to make something believable is put truths in with the lie. So she starts off, this is all real. And then at some point it skews into fiction. And it's believable enough. People assume, well, that part was true. He said it was true. So why wouldn't the rest of it be true? But that whole sequence where she says, you need to do this, you need to do this. And they show her reading every detective novel, murder mystery, and learning from other people's mistakes. Like, this is where they went wrong in that book, and this is where they went wrong, and I can do it better because she is so brilliant, and this is how she chooses to apply herself, which is wild. Most people would just, go write a book. Like, she could just write this all in a story and act out her fantasy that way.
So at the end of, sorry, that's also a difference I've got to say. That's the whole thing at the end. They're both writing their memoirs at the end.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Of
the book.
Once again, the big twist at the end is what was real.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that sequence where she just is saying, I'm alive and I'm going to eat junk food and screw that guy. Just wait till I sure showed him kind of a thing.
I do have a question, though, about the weight gain. So I read that Rosamund Pike because they were filming out of sequence, she put on and lost 13 pounds a couple of times. That's all very well and good, but looking at she looked bloated so quickly. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just maybe it's just me, but putting on that amount of weight within 2 days. It felt quite quick that she got bloated. Although maybe it was just the salt from the junk food, I guess. But it seemed quite quick. But
if you're somebody who never ever eats junk food, it might affect you faster. Okay. But yes, it is. Yeah. It is jarring how quickly we get there. And the only thing that can justify it is they keep showing her stuffing her face with burgers and Kit Kats.
And
so that's all she's eating and she's overeating, maybe.
And she's not exercising. She's just driving
drinking
and then
out of a 2-liter. Just I'm like, gosh, jeez.
Yeah, she's kind of going through all of the phases, like the 12 steps, like the anger and the depression and all of those things, because it's funny, like when they show her watching the news unfold and she's just laughing maniacally, getting this sick pleasure watching him squirm, but she's so obsessed with it and she can't break away from it. She can't separate herself. She's addicted to this sick relationship that she's created. And yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. I think she just likes watching the news just for like, oh, when's he going to mess up? When's he going to mess up? I just want to see him fall more. And it all over.
He's falling into my trap that I've created.
But then it goes completely the other way. And he says, because he's realized that she's out there, and so says, okay, I know my wife. I know what she wants to hear. And what's the scene where he says, and everybody's saying, oh, you'll be able to reach millions if you go on this show. And he goes, maybe I just need to reach one person. Because that's what it is. And then she falls for it, hook, line and sinker. So then that's when the turn comes. I mean, she's still got she's still in control, but he's kind of got it back in some way, and knows that should work. Because the first thing she says when she sees that is, oh, he's wearing my tie. I got him that tie. So
I also like Amy framing Desi before he leaves for work. Just that is, when I saw that was even more despicable than the entire cool girl monologue.
That is the darkest scene in this movie, where she is just like, okay, so I'm going to figure out where all the cameras are here, and I'm going to make it look like I'm being held hostage. And then when she actually goes through with her final plan, the way, like, they are literally in the middle of being physical, and she finishes with him after she has slit his throat.
Yeah,
that is
boom.
Next level insane. Like, she doesn't stop. Like, the act continues while he's breathing
over.
Yeah, if you are not, by this point in the movie, convinced this woman is absolutely maniacal, I don't know what could possibly convince you.
And she doesn't.
Then she had not murdered anybody. But but that's how far she's willing to go.
Yeah, and
to complete the story.
Yeah, and she does it with just such calmness. There is no stress or anxiety with her. She's just cool about everything, which is so scary. I couldn't imagine.
And the things she's willing to do to her own body, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like standing there tying her own wrists.
Hitting her face with a hammer. Just
I'll never look at a wine bottle the same way
No,
again.
no, that was disturbing.
Okay, seriously? 11 years since I watched this movie. The wine bottle is the thing I think about.
I'm still new.
I don't think I've seen that in a movie, and the way she is just focused while she just does. She acts. And I'm like, oh my God, there's no
face also doesn't change. She bends over the counter, she stares like kind of ahead, and you see her other hand going down, and you're just like, okay.
Yeah. No change. There's no wincing, there's no hesitation. Yeah. And then the culmination of that whole day is,
I mean,
a lot.
Desi is not a great person. I mean, he's a weird stalker-ish creep. But does he deserve this? This is the whole thing. I mean, is there any genuinely good person in this film? Like, nice person?
I would... maybe Margot. That's the only person I can think of.
Yeah. She's also great. Love her.
She's the closest thing to a nice person, but even she is... I know it's coming from a "you're my brother and I need to help you" place, but she also is trying to guide him away from, saying the bad things, or maybe he should say the honest thing here. And she's like, don't be honest. That's the last thing you should do, is be honest. You should lie. Like, she even goes really close to that line of, are we helpful in this situation? Like, is she a good person by telling him to, cover things up and don't tell people the truth? And, it dances the line, but I think she is probably the closest Closest to it, unless you want to count, Casey Wilson as the neighbor. She's just a sweet stay-at-home mom who's been deceived. But she's, a small town girl from Missouri. Of course, she's going to believe what the woman next door tells her about her terrible husband.
Yeah. When you see them like drinking their wine, it's the most excitement probably she's had in her life for a while with those kids. So
and she considers Amy her best friend because that is what she has.
Yeah, they even have pictures of them together, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm like, Amy, you really.
Well, she went the fool. I mean, befriend the village idiot. So then she did it. Oh no. I just.
Oh, continue.
Oh no, it's fine. I've lost my train of thought. But just to go back to the scene, I think the one that everybody does remember, apart from the hard cut to "Life is so much better now I'm dead," is, I mean, the murder scene, right, of Desi. Because I just remember having seen it in the cinema and then watching it again. I was like, oh, do I really want to watch this? Hide. Yeah. It is, and it was so shocking because did we know at the time? No, we'd seen that she had the box cutter, I think, and she'd hidden that. So I guess I just remember it being so kind of unexpected. It's like the one jump scare, really. I mean, she hits herself with the hammer. That's also like another one where but she's doing it. You're just waiting for her to actually do it. And the way there's just so much blood. So much blood comes out of Neil Patrick Harris.
And she just bathes herself in it, and she
stays in it.
She doesn't do it. She doesn't shower or anything. No, she's sitting there in the hospital in a gown, but she still has the blood right here. I'm like, guys, did you not shower her? Like, what are we doing?
I get preserving evidence, and she has to corroborate her own story by having the physical. Her body is the evidence. And nobody's going to believe her if she doesn't stay in that state. But she's also really committed to, I have chosen this life. This is who I am now. But the other thing I was going to say is the fact that in this scene, it is Neil Patrick Harris. Because if you remember back in 2014, he was on How I Met Your Mother during that time. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of his resurgence of we're paying attention to this guy again, from child actor to serious adult actor, but he didn't really make these kinds of projects. I've never seen anything remotely resembling this from Neil Patrick Harris. And I remember seeing this in the theater going, why is he so creepy? Why
he's so creepy? Oh
he's
my
so
goodness.
creepy. And it's
so creepy.
It's the calm, entitled kind of creepy where he's like, I knew that we were in love 20 years ago and I've never let you go and you're never getting away from me again. It's like, stop that.
And he says, I'm not going to force myself on you. Ooh, where did that even come from? Ooh.
I think Amy even was like, oh, not this guy. Like, we've got to do something about it. But even before she escaped, did you notice that she was tying that rope around her hands just to make it look bruised, like he had held her hostage? Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh gosh, this woman will not. She just. Oh. I do like the scene where Margot confronts Nick about having an affair right after his girlfriend leaves. She was just like, why?
How long has she been standing there is the question, because he doesn't see her there. It doesn't mean she wasn't there. Like, she could have come out while he was shuffling this girl out of the house. It could be that she's been standing there the whole time.
Oh, God.
Bless her. And I had forgotten about that scene, and I thought the paparazzi was going to be outside, or the police or something. I was like, Nick is going to get caught. I forgot about this. Luckily, he didn't. But still, it really makes him out to be this terrible human being.
Yeah, when she's screaming at him, we are having your missing wife's candlelight vigil tonight, and you are screwing your 19-year-old girlfriend.
So
I
bad.
love how she just gradually makes her younger. It's like he's like early 20s, and she's like 20, and then gradually she becomes like 19, and yeah.
Well, if you think about it, they've been together for a year and a half. Right. She probably was 19 when they started hooking up. It's just like, ew.
Yeah, it's
you're like, cliche, man.
Also, you're a student, and no, it's so tacky.
It is terrible.
And also, she's kind of a bimbo. She's kind of a bimbo.
I'm sorry, she is dumb.
Well, wasn't that only like a year after? Oh God, Robin Thicke song where she was in the.
I think I read some. I
She
think
was
I.
in the video, wasn't she?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Blurred Lines. Pretty
Yeah,
sure she was
I
in
read
video.
that somewhere. Yeah, I think it was sometime after that.
Yeah, and that song was the year before, it was 2013. So, yeah, that's where I knew her from, I guess. If it's good to admit that I knew that song and knew the video. Yeah, then suddenly she pops up on that.
Distressingly catchy, which is unfortunate.
I know.
But yeah, it's talking about like that's going on at that time, and then you get that actress to play this character, and it's the other thing about him being a cliche, where it's like immediately after they move there, his mom dies. So now he's like a sad middle-aged man because his mommy died. And his dad is unwell, so he has to go and seek the love and comfort of some girl who just worships him because she's a student. It's just like everything about this is so icky.
Yeah,
It's just basically what Margot says.
Yeah.
She's like, you are a walking cliche. I mean, Margot, I think, is to what you were saying, Betsy, I think, is anybody ever really 100% good? But she is the voice. She's kind of like the voice of reason. Like she's her and Boney, I would say, like those two, because she always realizes. I think she wants so to go to Inspector Boney. I think she wants to believe Nick, and she knows there's something not quite right about it. But then when the slew of evidence with the gifts in the woodshed, she's like, I really wanted to believe you. I gave you the benefit of the doubt. She says this to him. And you almost like feel like, she feels disappointed and let down by him. And she meets with them separately with Tanner Bolt, like at the end, and they're kind of trying to figure out how can we, nail Amy, like how can we, bring her, to justice. But she's like, no, we can't. She's been too clever for us, and like they all know. And it's like she's got this degree of, skepticism towards the story. Then there's so much evidence where she's like, feels let down, because I think she still ultimately knows that there's something not right here. So her and Margot are kind of, I'd say they are the voices of reason through this whole film. Although Margot, of course, has to be, she's probably got some kind, she's definitely got some kind of bias because she hates Amy, clearly, always has.
Do you blame her, though?
No, this is the thing. So back to the voice of reason. If we're thinking Margot is our voice of reason, then we should realize from the very beginning, where the first scene you have with Margot is she's slagging off Amy and, talking about their wood anniversary and how they could celebrate that. So, if we don't know Margot well enough but then we realize, well, she told us from the beginning, the woman, if Margot's our voice of reason and we believe Margot, she's slagging off Amy. Why does she not like Amy? Is it just some weird, fact, nobody's good enough for my brother, or is there more to it?
I think she recognizes that Amy's kind of intense and ridiculous. Like she's just extra for the sake of being extra. And you could tie a lot of this as somebody who grew up and still lives in the Midwest. There's that bias against city people. Like I don't personally have that, but there is definitely a cultural difference when you go to talk to people who grew up in a large city versus in a very small town, especially somewhere like Missouri, where you are really surrounded by a certain type of people. And then your brother is moving to the city, becoming this pretentious writer, and he meets this woman and brings her home, and she is also a pretentious writer. Why would you be that? And she clearly doesn't have anything in common with this woman. Like she's a trust fund baby, and her mom and dad have all kinds of money. Amazing Amy. And it seems like, she's kind of playing house, like these elaborate things she does every year. Like the first year she does a little scavenger hunt, it's kind of cute, but then she keeps doing it year after year after year. It's like, are you just like boxed into your own tiny existence and you've lacked any expansive creativity? Like, why do you keep doing this? Because it was cute once. You're a grown woman. Could you find some other way to express your love and affection on an anniversary?
I think the whole psychological profile of Amy is incredibly interesting, though, because I mean, can we even take the stance that in a way her parents are to blame for this whole thing? Because they have created, Amy is not, she's always feeling she's not good enough. She's chasing amazing Amy. And there's another bit where she says, "Oh, amazing Amy is always like, she's less like me, but she's better." Or, like, what is it? She learns a musical instrument, then gives it up. Amy becomes like, performs in an orchestra in, I don't know, Carnegie Hall, no idea. Or she gives up volleyball. Amy makes the university team. Or Amy gets married before she does. Oh, by the way, that proposal scene, the cutesy proposal scene, and oh god, which is just so cringe because then he talks about her vagina, and you're like, oh, stop it. Ooh, that's not in the book, by the way. There's no that was entirely made up, which I thought was interesting. I actually quite like that. I mean, it's cringe, but that's just a figment of Gillian Fling's imagination in the film. But I mean, so they're always comparing. So she's always comparing herself ultimately to Amazing Amy. She can't reach that. Is there also some kind of arrested development there? I mean, clearly she's also extremely intelligent. But has she been, mollycoddled by her parents, always living up to this childhood or child Amazing Amy? And one thing you said earlier, Betsy, about how she's writing on this cutesy pen, it's a really like quite childlike pen. It's like feathers and frills, and it's all a little twisted and pink and pretty. And I do wonder if that's it's clearly coming from somewhere, and not that don't we necessarily blame the parents, but I mean they're very loving, and in the book they're very much described as having the perfect marriage. They're always sneaking little kisses into each other, even though they've been together forever. And of course Nick comes from a very dysfunctional family. So I do wonder if that's some kind of unreal world that Amy has been living in. So she doesn't even know what real is. She's always trying to impress somebody, whether it's her parents. Then she becomes cool girl to kind of impress and snag somebody like Nick, and it's not really her.
You have an interesting point there, because if we're to believe that when we're hearing about Amazing Amy, the real Amy would pick up an instrument and drop it. She never follows through on anything. She was always starting sports and dropping out of sports, and she would start things and never finish them. Even though she's brilliant, like she makes it through Harvard, like that's about the only thing she ever accomplished, was going to college and finishing. But everything else, we're supposed to believe that she's kind of a slacker or kind of a phony in that way. Like she presents herself as this big, intelligent individual, but she even paints herself in that scene as, I'm always chasing Amazing Amy. The only thing she truly follows through on is this elaborate plan to frame her husband for her own murder. That's the only thing we see her do.
And do you think as well that she even realizes that this is real in a way? I mean, of course she knows it's real, but is this kind of believing a lie so much that it becomes real? And so it's like she's playing a role. Her entire life she's playing a role, and this is just the latest story that Amazing Amy, has made up. And she's got her little post-its. This is what I'm going to do then. This is what I'm going to do then. It's kind of like it's the only excitement in a way that she has in this really dull Midwestern life that she's had to move to against her will. I'm thinking, at what point does it become real for her? Because the whole Desi thing, of course, was not part of the plan. This was something which she had to improvise anyway, and then rethink everything. So when does she? What part of this whole thing is really real for her? Is she just acting it out, and then shit really does get real because she ends up murdering Neil Patrick Harris?
That's interesting.
We're all living in Amy's fantasy.
Oh, I hope not.
And then, of course, the other thing about that, whenever we do see all those flashbacks in the movie, you continue to have to ask yourself how much of that really happened the way it's being described to us. Because you said in the book, unreliable narrator. In the movie, definitely an unreliable narrator. So some version of this, I'm sure, happened, like that she met her husband and they fell in love and they would have these wild sexual interactions in bookstores and stuff like that because that's all they have between them. But yeah, it's just, you're right. She makes this elaborate plan. It goes wrong because she screws up. She makes a mistake. She gets robbed. She has no money. And Desi is just what do I do? Let's just ask around, like, who can I trust? And he's like the only solution. And you kind of commented, like she's sitting there and he's saying, I'm not going to force myself on you and all of this. And she seems to realize, there's that look on her face. What have I committed to? What am I doing here? Because maybe this was a bad idea.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. She just has this look like, oh no.
But this is a great example of how great she is, Rosamund Pike, because just that slight flicker across her face is telling us so much about her mental state, and I don't think we really ever truly get into Amy's head, but there's just these small tiny moments where the facade is slipping, or she's like, oh, what have I done, like you said, and that's just all with this tiny look. Amazing work.
Or she has her little sticky notes that say kill self ? Her ultimate plan is they're going to find her body at the bottom of a lake sometime. Like, she is just going to commit so much to this to really ruin his life that she is willing to take her own life to do it. And it's the one thing where she hasn't really committed to it. It's on the calendar, but there's like a date here and there's another date in a few weeks and there's another date in 2 months where she's like, maybe this day, maybe this day, maybe this day, where she hasn't fully committed. Like, she knows that they are going to have a lot harder time getting him and arresting him and actually convicting him of her murder without a body.
Right.
Yeah.
But she's also not quite ready to go that whole distance yet.
Although I think part of it is maybe also her really wanting to watch him squirm as well for a while. Like, ooh, let's see how far we can push this. Let's see. And she's kind of, enjoying watching this on television, always wanting to catch up. And I'm like, I'll just turn this off. Like, what is this? And, but she's like, no. And I think she kind of enjoys that. She's enjoying seeing this, nightmare situation that he's going through. And maybe that's part of it as well. She just wants to drag it out a little bit longer. Let's just really watch him squirm. And of course, at the end of the day, he's going to go down, but she's not going to see that anymore because she's going to be dead. So maybe that's part of it as well.
And why would she want to miss out on the big finale?
Exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of big finale, we forgot to talk about when she comes back home.
Oh my God.
It was so funny when, he whispers in her ear and she's just like, dramatically falls in his arms. I'm like, this woman just will not quit. She is so devastated.
And then in the hospital when she's surrounded by FBI and police and she's telling her sad, dramatic story, and the other woman, the detective, just like, just one question. There's some holes in your story. Just one question. And she keeps interrupting, like, would you let me finish my dramatic story?
Yeah.
You're so rude to get off track on this topic.
It's so theatrical.
Yes.
Her return.
And then Patrick Fugit's character is like, just shut up and be happy your wife is home. The fact that they all just move on, like, this is not their problem anymore to look for this woman because she's been found. Her story, there's enough physical evidence to corroborate what she said. Why do you care?
And yeah, just be happy. But I mean, there's so many, and with how good the whole story is, and carefully and put together, a la Amy, part of me wonders why there are so many weird seeming plot holes here. Why do they not, why don't they investigate her more to find, for example, she was never pregnant, because she does that afterwards with the with the sperm donation, which was not actually destroyed. Why don't they realize, okay, there was no miscarriage, there was, they don't investigate. So, and there's other examples. I did kind of make a few notes. I mean, first of all, I understand the cleaning up the blood, but oh God, I can't even read my writing. But there's a few things with that investigation that there were why, Bonnie's right. I mean, she's asking the right questions, and it doesn't get followed up. But on the other hand, why is it just like, oh, she's back, and everything's great? But I mean, they've still kind of sort of half ruined Nick's life. Are they not concerned about that? And she's still making him go in television, and he is still being portrayed as somebody who beat his wife. That's when she says, you need to own that. You need to own that. You need to go in television. You need to do this. Why are they not questioning her story further? But again, I find it hard to believe that is a plot hole, because it's so obvious that they would do that. So is this part of what Amy's been saying about they are just so incompetent, and this is just a further example? They're not going to question anything because, hey, she's back. Everything's great. So we're not going to poke holes in her story. And the one person who's trying to gets silenced, and she says, please, can I continue, as you say, my dramatic story? And then suddenly she is getting too close to the truth in a way, and she's suddenly like, oh, I'm going to faint. Oh, so dramatic.
I think it's because, we've made it a media story now. It's a media sensation, and she's the victim here. Why would we persecute this poor woman and accuse her of lying? She's clearly been through so much. Why? And we shouldn't investigate it anymore. Just let her get back to her life, this poor, beautiful white lady, because that's effectively what it is. It's a beautiful, rich white lady who was victimized. And that was true in 2014 and in 2025. That's what we're going to care about on the news. It's sad, but it's true. And so when she comes home, they all move on.
And the whole manhunt. The whole manhunt going all that way out, even though they have no real evidence, and she could literally just have run away. They don't even go that. No, they automatically assume there's been some kind of crime that's happened. Yeah, okay, they find the blood, fine. But, yes, because she is a rich white woman. Yeah. It's sad but true.
That's what I was going to say. They've just been so focused on that. They're like, oh, okay, it's over. It's just over. And they, sometimes I feel like it's that way. They don't care. They're just like, it's our job. We did our job. Our job's over.
Don't waste the resources.
Yeah, don't waste the resources. And then Nick is just forced to live with this monster for the rest of his life.
I mean, you understand why he locks the door. Oh, goodness. I have to say, that was one thing I was so nervous about, watching again, was when it's, she's come back, they're hugging, they pose for the cameras, and then they go in, and I'm like, oh, what is going to happen? What is going to happen now? Because now it's just the two of them, and of course, they kind of know the truth. And, he says to her, you are a murderer now. And, she's making sure that they could go to the shower. So, in case he's wired and everything. So, yeah, I mean, but then she goes back to almost trying to create a perfect life again, with the making pancakes, everything's great, perfect wife. It's bizarre.
I would have been horrified when she came back home. I wouldn't have slept or anything. I would, if I was Nick, I would fear for my life, because if you know what she is capable of, how can you sleep in that house?
It's such a double-edged sword, because what she says is true. You can't leave now. After all this, if he were to leave his wife, that would be the new thing to ruin his life. You would not get any sympathy from anybody. Good luck getting a job. You are going to be infamous. But also, in her weird, sick way, he became the man that she always wanted him to be. So when she says, you can sleep with me in the same bed, I'm not going to hurt you, you kind of believe her, but also that he's got to walk such a straight line. He can never, ever, ever stray from this line, because he knows what she could do to him if he did. She already did it once. What's to stop her from doing it again? So he is trapped. He's very trapped in this situation. What can he possibly do other than go into a separate room and lock the door and hope that's enough?
Or kill himself. That's the only.
Maybe eventually something is going to work out. Either he's going to lose his damn mind and, fall back in love with her. Okay. Or he'll find a way to leave. But we don't get that part of the story. We just get him trapped in this relationship.
And again, going back to our voice of reason here, Margot, that's what you see. I mean, she breaks it down every single time. I think whenever you don't know what's really going on, there's always scenes you can point to with Margot where you're like, basically, she just told us what's going on here. You see her, there's a cut to her sobbing in the kitchen, and we've not really seen her. We've seen her get angry. We've seen her be, a little bit bitchy. We've seen her being very protective of Nick, but we've not seen her break down like that. And she's just sobbing, and she's on the floor, and she's sobbing, and she's like, oh my God, like, you are trapped. Why can't you leave? She's a psychomaniac. And he's like, no, but I can't, because there's the kid, and there's this, and there's that. And she's like, so just like, go. And he's trapped, and she realizes that. I think she knows that, and that's why she's so upset, because she's saying, you should go, and he's saying, I can't, but she knows that he's telling the truth, and that's why she's so upset.
It ends in such a Fincher way, like The Social Network. Have you seen it, Betsy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When Mark Zuckerberg's just clicking and clicking and clicking on his ex-girlfriend, and you're just like, dude, she's not going to go back with you. And it ends on such a downer. Or Seven, the way, Brad Pitt's character, what he's going through all the way to the end. And, it seems like every Fincher movie, there's this ending where it's like, you just feel so bad for the protagonist that somehow you want to watch it again, but at the same time, it's like, this ending sucks for everybody.
There are no happy endings.
There are none.
I mean, my sympathy for Nick, at a certain extent, is kind of limited, because
he doesn't really deserve
he's still
it.
a cheating asshole, right? And it's not me. And I do actually believe the parts of the story where it's like he would, go out and get drunk with his mates in New York and all this kind of thing. I'm sure that's perfectly true. But I mean, doesn't, she's a murderer, right?
Oh, yeah.
And she's trying to ruin his life, but she thinks it's justified. She genuinely believes that she is justified because he has mistreated her, he has cheated on her, he has not lived up to her expectations of what amazing Amy expects from a husband, and therefore he must be punished. And okay, to a certain extent, you kind of see where she's coming from, because all her life she's she's been chasing somebody else. She's been chasing this amazing Amy, and she kind of wants that for herself, and he's not living up to the he's not completing his part of the deal here.
He also likes to make it her fault that he's not living up to it. Like when he throws the prenup in her face. Like, dude, you could just let that be. You never have to bring that up. But it makes you feel emasculated because she's the one with the money and it's her house and she owns the bar and all of these things. And you don't feel like a man. Oh, boo-hoo. So sad for you.
I wouldn't cry about it. I would be like, thank you. My spouse is helping me with the things I need. But no, it's just,
you need to be partners.
Yes.
And I get that he feels like she is sort of leading the way, but a prenup is a technicality. A lot more people should probably have prenups and it shouldn't be a big deal, but it's only a big deal if you make it a big deal.
Oh yeah.
And he makes it a big deal.
Yeah, this is what, like in the book they do a little bit about that as well. And she's like, I'm giving you all my money. I don't mind. He's got, well, the prenup says something different. It says it's not my money. It's all yours. And she goes, oh, that's just the prenup. That's not even for me. It's not even for my parents. It's for my parents' lawyers. And yeah, but
but if he was living up to the expectations of a partnership and a marriage, the prenup would never come up. No one would ever talk about there being a prenup because the assumption is this is a good marriage and a good relationship and we don't need the prenup. But clearly there's a part of you that thinks it being there is a problem because you know you're in the wrong relationship.
I agree.
Because if he thought he was in the right relationship, he wouldn't have done any of the things he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Best quotes. Did anyone get any? Because I have a big list. They're really good.
I think my favorite one is at the end of the movie where she says, "I'm not a quitter. I'm that C word."
Oh, man.
Oh, the whole one, yeah.
Yeah, when she just drops that, she's like, "That is what I am. That is who you married." And the way she delivers that line last night, I was like, "Yeah, that's a piece of dialogue."
Oh, man, I have so many great ones. Margot, whoever took her is bound to bring her back. That was a great one. That made me laugh so hard. Tanner Bolt, whatever they found, I think it's safe to assume that it is very bad.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gosh, there are so many. Amy Dunn. Nick Dunn took my pride, my dignity, and my hope, and my money. He took and took from me until I no longer existed. That's murder. She's loaded. I really like this one, though. What's the laptop for? Laptopping. I could not. That was great. It's just there's so many great lines.
Also, just the line that she says right at the turn, life's been so much better since I died, or whatever that line was. Yeah.
Also, like for Valentine's Day, I thought I'd buy a gun. She is so despicable.
I liked the scene where they both bought each other the same set of sheets, and he says, "We're so cute. I want to punch us in the face."
Yes, I have that quote on here. It's so great.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh no.
And
see if he comes back.
Oh, did you lose me? Am I back? Hello?
That was so sudden. Yeah, it's still recording.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Do.
I guess he'll edit this bit out.
Or he'll leave it in. Should we have a full
Let's entertain everybody.
Comes back.
We're the personality hires here.
I'm not here for substance. I'm just here to dance and sing.
Oh, that's also, I don't know, I can't remember if it was in the film. There's a bit of the book where they talk about where she's out in New York with her gal pals, and they all have their men coming, and she talks about them being their dancing monkeys. Yeah, because they just come and do what their women want, and she's like, "Oh, I'm pleased. I don't expect that from my man. He can go out and have a good time. I'm the cool girl. I don't mind." Yeah, you're back. Hi. Oh no, again.
He's gone again.
Yeah, so the dancing monkeys are the other men as well.
I do have this book somewhere. I just haven't actually read it yet. Hello?
Am I back? Echoing. Okay, no. Good.
Okay, we're good.
There we go.
It was being weird. Okay, we're good. Anyway, it's full of great quotes, and it has a great list of fun facts. I saved so many. It's the feature film debut of Carrie.
At the time, I had seen her on The Leftovers. So she was in that, at least that first season, but I only ever watched the first season, then stopped watching. So I definitely paid attention to her in that show. And it's really not until like this year with The White Lotus that people have been talking a lot about Carrie Coon, which is like, she's been here for a decade, guys. Go watch it.
Oh yeah, I already knew that. When I watched Gone Girl for the first time, I'm like, whoever this is, I love her. And then I saw that she was going to be in The White Lotus. I'm like, yes, finally. And then everyone's like, oh, Parker Posey, oh, Carrie Coon, and I'm like,
Parker
guys,
Posey,
they
man.
have
She's
been
been
around.
around.
Where have you been?
She was like, that's
yeah.
and everybody was like taking, like, it was just like went through the internet, everybody trying to do her accent in The White Lotus. Did you see his Three Daughters?
It's just like Jennifer.
A couple of years ago? She was in that.
Yes,
and
that was a
was my
fantastic
favorite of the
film.
three.
I sobbed.
It was her. It was Natasha Lyonne.
It was her
and Thingy also.
Natasha Lyonne and Elizabeth.
And all
Elizabeth
three of them
Olsen.
were amazing, but it was Natasha Lyonne who was kind of more getting, I think, potential, awards attention, although it didn't really go anywhere. But for me, it was Carrie Coon, and it was just a standout. I think the character as well, I kind of, I don't know what this says about me, but I kind of related to her character, like kind of being in control and, having to control everything and know where everything is and, making sure that the plan is this and why is this not happening and this has got to happen. And I was like, oh God, this is actually me. But yeah, she was fabulous in that. Very kind of understated compared to the other two who had slightly more kind of out there roles, but she's fabulous. And I saw something where she was talking about how she's never recognized because she just blends in and you're like, oh, she's that person, and you've seen her in things, but if you were to see her, she says, oh, she's on flights or something, and people can be watching a film she's in or a TV show and she's literally there, and they're like, oh, can you pass my suitcase, thanks. Yeah,
that would not be me. I would know who she is.
It might take your brain a second to realize, wait, that's Carrie Coon, because why would she be in this plane with me? But
oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's married to Tracy.
On the Criterion Closet, yeah. She did that a while back, and she mostly talking about her husband. Is like, okay, we need to get that guy in this closet because he would have some things to say.
Well, he goes on. He's been on The Big Picture, hasn't he, a few times because he and Sean Fennessy, they just like bond over physical media.
Yes.
And
everyone's trying to get rid of Chris Ryan. They're like, we need Tracy Letts. I'm like, no, guys, let's keep.
I love the fact that with all this stuff about people watching the Oscar films and everybody should be watching the films, and now they're making it compulsory. Where you're like, God, why wasn't it before? That she's always tweeting about what they're currently watching. I love that. It seems that they watch like a film a night, and she goes, oh, now watching, and then in the lead up to the Oscars, she was like going, rah, this is Oscars preparation. She was actually calling it that, and now we're watching, and now we're watching this, and now we're watching Anora, and now we're watching, and yeah, I love that. They're doing the job, like Kirsten Dunst. When somebody once asked her, yeah, have you watched all the films? She goes, of course I have. I'm an Academy voter. Yeah, like why wouldn't you?
Yeah, so the Academy voters failed us last year. I'm just going to be honest with you. No, the way they voted, that they were anonymously saying, "Oh, I wasn't watching this."
Those are inside thoughts. We shouldn't share those if you don't want people to judge you.
They said the quiet part out loud. Yeah.
Yes, don't. And if you say that, then all of us who love movies are like, well, I could do their job better, because some of us have 9-to-5 jobs, and we also watch movies and podcasts on the side, and we would put more time into it than they do.
2 years ago, the Oppenheimer year, I had not seen two films that I needed to see, May, December, and The Zone of Interest. And they were not out in Germany where I live, and they weren't going to be out until after the Oscars. They were, however, out in France. So what did I do? I am so committed. I went for a weekend to Strasbourg, literally about the closest city over the border. Just 3 hours on the train. It's great, lovely, beautiful city, by the way. If you're ever come to Europe or to France, Strasbourg, beautiful place. And I went and I wandered around Strasbourg, and I had a great weekend by myself. I love city trips by myself, and beautiful city. I went to see two movies because they were both out there, and it was great. And I'm like, see, I am committed, Academy, right? But they even get the streamers. They don't even have to go to Bloomin' France to watch the film.
It shows that you're hosts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or that. They have it in streamers.
Yeah, or they're digital. They get it on their computers.
They
and I'm like,
just have to get and turn it on. It's they're waiting for us, like looking into, whatever. Like they have their own personal Amazon Prime or something, and they can log in. Or what did I do this year for? This was fun. For I'm Still Here, the Brazilian film. I couldn't find an original. I could only find a German dub, which was horrible, and I'm like, no, I want to, but I couldn't find the original Portuguese Brazilian. impression, and I couldn't, but not without subtitles because it was the original Brazilian. I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do here? I don't speak Portuguese. So I found this is so I could have my laptop on the side. I had my bigger screen like in front of me. Watched the film with the English screenplay running on the side, on the other screen, while I'm like going, right, okay, they're saying this, okay, now they're doing this, and I was like, trying to read the English screenplay while I had on the other monitor had the film. So, do you see? I could do their job.
Yeah, you just gotta put in the work. Like I'm an Academy Press member. I don't know how I was able to get that, but it's pretty cool just getting the insight of everything they're going to do. And even like a couple of days ago, Adam Pearson from A Different Man became an Academy member, and he follows me on Instagram, which is so crazy. I don't know how, but I was texting my friend, I'm like, I've got a follower that is a member of the Academy that votes, and he's like, is he gonna vote? Like, I said, I hope so. They failed us last year.
Lovely though, like he does.
It's crazy.
He seems to really kind of really interact with people on social media, which I know a lot of, celebrities don't, because it's kind of pretty evil out there at times. What's said about things. You just think you wouldn't say that to their face.
Oh yeah, some of them are. Yeah.
Yeah. So here we go. Getting back to Gone Girl in the media and the media frenzy, and just people, kind of almost like trial by media. Right, which is kind of the way what Nick was going through. People were already making up their minds.
To bring it back to the movie, that woman who is just reporting, quote unquote, whatever she hears. She's like, I just go where the story goes. You imply my sister and I are having a relationship. Let's just change the subject, because that's not what we're here to talk about today. And that's all in the past, because she's just in it for the ratings, and she's going out there saying these horrible, horrible things about Nick with no facts, with no reason to say it other than she knows it will irritate people and agitate the angry mob. And then, she gets to go after this guy. And when he's found very obviously to be innocent because his wife comes home, she's like, oh, it's all in the past. No apology. No, like, this is why I said it and I'm sorry. Just, nope. This is how it is.
Which is very current today as well, I think, just twisting
and not only that,
and making it sound as if it was the truth, right?
Yeah, and when Amy is in hiding, the lady that is in the same vicinity that she is watching the news and saying, oh, she sounds like a real, B word, and then Amy spits in her Mountain Dew as she walks
I must
away.
have looked away from the TV last night when that happened, because I don't remember that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's ooh.
Oh yes, like she's just like, they're sitting there watching it, and then that one lady's like, oh, she just sounds like a real jerk, and then she walks out, and then Amy just grabs a cup, spits, and it puts it, stirs it up a little, and she drinks it, and then you're just sitting there like, oh, no. It's just a level of pettiness that Amy has. Okay, I have a great question for you, though. Is Amy one of, if not the best movie villain of the 21st century? We don't have as many from the 21st as we do the 20th, because the 20th century, we have Hannibal Lecter, we have Hans Gruber, we have Harry Pyle from The Night of the Hunter. We have so many, because that's almost 100 years of cinema right there in the 20th century. But in the 21st, I only came up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that are great villains. I would say Hans Landa, Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men, the Joker, Heath Ledger, of course, Amy Dunn, and Regina George from Mean Girls.
I think it's not an unfair thing to say, because she is remarkable. When the movie literally gets one nomination from the Academy, and it is all about Rosamund Pike, and this is not an easy role. You are really committing to the bit, and she is unforgettable. I have not watched this movie for 10 plus years, But you think I haven't thought about how she is absolutely off her rocker in this movie? I think about things from this movie all the time. If I'm scrolling past and someone's talking about Gone Girl, I'm thinking about Rosamund Pike in particular. And, she's gone on to make, I haven't seen it yet. Have you seen I Care a Lot?
No.
I haven't.
Yes,
but the trailer
and
was
she
giving
has
such
somehow
Gone
managed
Girl
to tap
vibes.
into that kind of an energy in that movie, as I understand it. And watching this one last night really makes me want to go see that, because I've not seen her do any other roles like this. And I've seen some other movies. The thing I saw her in before this is Pride and Prejudice. And if you watch Rosamund Pike in Pride and Prejudice in 2005, and then you see this, and those are your 2 points of reference, you go, that's a hell of an actress.
Throw in Saltburn.
Yeah.
She's great in Saltburn.
Yeah, and Saltburn, she was funny in Saltburn, which I like. I mean, she's funny in this movie, but it's so darkly funny. But in Saltburn, she kind of was like dead behind the eyes, but she also just had this funny, weird sense of humor. Everything's like, posh, and and it was really funny. I enjoyed her, but in this, she is just so terrifying. I've heard stories of people going on dates to Gone Girl, and then after they're like, we need to break up because it is that traumatizing for some people, because you sometimes it makes you think, do I know my partner that well? And they've been married for 5 years. That's a long time to know someone. But if they pull this on you in 5 years into marriage, that's scary.
So quickly. I mean, Betsy, I don't know how long you and Trent have been together, but my husband and I, we've been together 27 years. So, which is a long time. Ups and downs, which everybody has, but for them, it's fallen apart in 5 years. Like that tells me there was something very wrong in the first place. But again, getting back to Cool Girl and throwing out the fact that maybe we could consider that Nick also wanting to impress her. So it was certainly both of them playing a role, and you can't keep that up all the time. You can't. So getting back to what you were saying as well, he's going to have to try and keep this up his entire life from now on, unless he somehow manages to get out. But they're both playing a role ultimately, and that's not the basis for a relationship, right? I mean, that's not going to hold. That might hold. That's why it's falling apart after the 5 years, because you can't keep that up if it's not real.
And the second the going got rough for them is when it started to fall apart. The second he is out of a job and they have to move back to his home, not her home. She's not from there. This is a very big change for her. And then his mom dies and he promptly starts ignoring her and having an affair. And how they both handle this entire situation, it's just widening the crack in that facade.
But it's like the bookend of the film, obviously, with her head, the very famous bookend, very, very, David Fincher. But also the lines, who are we? What have we become? What will we do to each other? I'm paraphrasing, sorry, I haven't got it in front of me. But that, it's very much starts the film like that and ends it like that. And and what have we done to each other? And what will we do? And that's where it ends. And that's like, God, I don't know. What will they do to each other?
Honestly, it may end like the War of the Roses. They just both die. They hate each other so much.
The way he describes it too, like I wonder what's going on in her head. I just want to crack it open. Like it's a violent way to describe it, but also you could just ask. You could just ask her what's going on inside her head.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, that's how we open the movie. It's like, when I first saw it, it's like, when I think of my wife, I think of bashing in her head. I was like, whoa, what are we starting with? Like, this is crazy. But, yeah. And I was reading the fun facts. This was a really good one that I liked about Amy. Regarding the casting of the title character, David Fincher said he wanted an actress with a Faye Dunaway type of persona. The director of Playboy magazine, told Playboy magazine, "I wanted Faye Dunaway in Chinatown, where you think this person has experienced avenues of pain that no one can articulate, or Faye Dunaway in Network, where it's, you're never going to get to the bottom of this, so just stop. It's crazy how much Rosamund Pike reminds me of Faye." I think of the Network comparison so well, because Faye Dunaway in Network is a cold heart. She's an ice queen. All she wants is the ratings. That's all she cares about. She will do everything in her power to get it, even if it's killing Peter Finch live on air just to get it up. And I was like, I read that and I was thinking, oh my god, she is Faye Dunaway.
There, Betsy, with your
I just did the revisionist almanac for the year 1976, so we talked at length about Faye Dunaway. We all agreed, like, in that movie, she's so phenomenal, and the Academy completely got it right. We were not going to make that change, but I just watched Network last month, and that is a very apt description of this character too. I can see the parallel.
And again, the media,
the media.
This is a film that's 50, almost 50 years old, and it's so, like what you were saying, Betsy, with Trent and with Andrew, it's just so scarily current today. And
I watched Network, gosh, it was 2 years ago, and I was sitting there and I was like,
right, exactly.
Did they make this last year?
Now.
It's crazy. Paddy Chayefsky, he's a good writer.
Satire and funny, but then you watch it now and you're actually, like you said, Betsy, it's more like a horror movie, and it's do anything for rating. Oh, let's just kill somebody because we're losing ratings, and we can't keep him, we can't fire him.
Well, and then with Gone Girl, since the movie came out, we had like the Me Too movement, and it adds a different layer. Like, who do you believe in this situation? Like, you want to believe her because we need to believe more women if they say men are abusing them. But in this specific case, she's also so cold and calculating. And you're like, but do we believe her? Should we be believing her? And the media is on her side in this movie.
And they remain on her side.
Yeah.
And I did read that as well, that it has been one of the criticisms of the book and the film, obviously, which is generally Gillian Flynn, actually, because many of her other books, they do make the female protagonist the villain. And she said, oh, they're so misogynistic, making that. Well, I'm like, well, no, because we need more of these interesting characters. She's great. Or Annie Wilkes' Misery. I love complex, and she's very complex. Amy's very complex. I do love these complex, difficult, problematic, and you can be difficult and problematic and not, murder somebody with a box cutter, right? But this is the kind of role that is interesting. You see men with these roles all the time. The murderer, the evil man, but they're interesting, and there's so few roles like this for women. And I think it was a point as well that you were making in the 1976 episode, Betsy, you were saying, well, of course, Faye Dunaway is way ahead of everybody else. There is nobody else, really, almost. Sure, this is basic, but getting more than 5 together was tricky, whether it was in the actress or in the supporting actress, where it's possibly even harder. And they were really almost like not scraping the bottom of the barrel, but they were picking so many roles where they literally had like 5-minute screen time, and it's not to say they wasn't good in that 5-minute screen time, but that it's so rare, and that was the problem then. And then you have a Faye Dunaway with this amazingly meaty role. Of course she's going to win, although, as we know, the Academy does not like awarding problematic female roles. So the fact that Faye Dunaway did win, but again, who else was there? Carrie also. you know, but
she murdered the high school.
Yay! It's so rare, and you know the fact that. And so getting back to Rosamund, she didn't win. You know, she lost to Julianne Moore, of course. But the fact that she was nominated.
Julianne Moore.
Has there been a change? Do they still like to? They do still have issues, I think, with these difficult villainous female characters. I think it's great. I don't think what's wrong with portraying a woman as the villain. I mean, they should portray her as being an absolute genius as well. You know, which is also.
Well, you could compare her to someone you mentioned earlier, Izaiah, Hans Landa. You know, he's cold and calculating, and in that scenario, that's a great villain because he's a man. But they could be exactly the same, and because she's a woman, is not going to get the same attention.
Right.
Yeah, like only now that you mention, only 2 villains that are women have won Oscars for the performance, and their leads, it's Faye Dunaway in Network and Kathy Bates in Misery, and that's it. And to me, those roles are way better than. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of a good example. I'm not going. Yep, that's a good one. We'll go with that. Sorry, Gwyneth Paltrow fan. It's so saccharine. I don't know. It's just your typical Oscar role. I'm going to be in this big movie. I'm going to play the nicest person. I'm not going to have any flaws. And to me, I love characters with flaws because they're more human. I don't want to watch a movie where someone is just so fake or Stepford Wives-ish in a way, like not only to the women but to the men too. Like, I don't want a fake person. I want a real person. Like, if I'm going to watch a comedy movie, I'm going to watch Little Miss Sunshine because that group of people are messed up like crazy, and they have a lot going on in their lives.
Describing here, and I'm just thinking of Emma Stone in Poor Things, because she describes herself as a flawed, experimenting person, and she is also kind of fake, but also kind of for real. And all of the words you were just describing, it's like, yeah, she's a unique example of a character that somebody that actually won for playing a character like that.
Yeah, I mean, although I think her Poor Things win is ultimately better than the La La Land win because she does have the arc. In the La La Land, again, it's like it's a big picture that everybody loved, and she's playing this quirky little, cookie character. She usually does, and she played. Yeah, so I did the 2016 revisionist almanac. So we went into La La Land there, and she's good in La La Land, but she's Emma Stone. She's playing Emma Stone, and this is a classic Emma Stone role. It's like, Jennifer Lawrence, she often plays very much where I feel this is her safe kind of space, her safe corridor of, acting. And I think Emma Stone showed in Poor Things that, of course, she can do a lot more than that. And the character has more of the arc, and she has her self-autonomy at the end with, becoming a physician herself. And it's... but yeah, I mean that's again. I think that the Emma Stone is almost for La La Land is almost more the classic. Yeah, this is a nice little person, and we like this. We like this person, so we're going to give her the Oscar because she's cute and kooky and funny, and we like Emma Stone.
I'm coming back. No, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like. Oh, sorry. Continue. It's like Emma Stone, she's a nice little person, we're going to give it to her. Or Gwyneth Paltrow, she's a nice little person, we're going to give it to you. Or Julianne Moore, it's like, finally we're doing the handicapped character, or we're going through this like really depressive character ending us the war.
She's very good in it.
Very good.
It kind of didn't. The movie didn't do a whole lot for me. Like, I watched it because of her. Like, that was the only reason I watched that movie. I wasn't really interested otherwise, and it's a good performance. I agree. I would lean to she's been in this business since the 1980s, and she's a really hardworking actress, and we should reward her hard work. And it's at least a good performance that deserves to be recognized. But I'll say again, if I'm going to pick between the two, I'm going to go with Rosamund Pike because she freaks me out in this movie.
I know at the time that I was, just because I love Julianne Moore and I think she needs, she needs to have an Oscar, like why does anybody need an Oscar, goodness, but what they say and the overdue narrative, and I was kind of buying into it because she was very, very good. That film is horrendous. No, it's not the film, it's not horrendous. I actually think it's fine, but it's either the subject matter is just a horrible one. I just don't like it. It's not something that I really choose to watch films about. Look at it that way. So, and it's so realistic, and she does it so well. It is a perfect portrayal of, the early onset of Alzheimer's, etc., etc. And it was like, okay, now it's Julianne Moore's time, and as you said, she's playing somebody who's going through Alzheimer's, another classic one. Anthony Hopkins obviously won for The Father, which again I can't watch that film, so I'm sure he's wonderful. But everybody else is just like, looking at the rest, I think, it was more kind of like Julianne Moore, it's her time. I don't know if this is a narrative I need to buy into and say, oh, this is so and so's time. But she was very, very good at it. It's fine, and I think Rosamund Pike, maybe they thought, oh, she's going to have other opportunities. That kind of classic narrative as well. But where are those opportunities? Where are they?
Haven't seen it in a decade.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I have not seen anything that
what happened
is at the level of Gone Girl.
A Bond film, wasn't she, as well? Like ages ago, like really young.
Yeah, she was an early Bond. She was a Bond girl.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
Was she in the last
Pierce Brosnan
I
Bond
think she was.
Oh, then
Was
I haven't
it
even
Pierce
seen it.
Brosnan?
Mm-hmm.
And
she was so young there. But again, so what you said about the fun fact that she was picked specifically as well, and one of the reasons being that that Fincher said you can't tell her age. She could be anything between 20 and 40, and the time when she did it, she was 35. But she portrays that whole range of age extremely well, and I think she hasn't changed that much as well since the Bond film, when she was so much younger. That
she's aged great. She's in her 40s. I'm like, I can't tell.
Whenever I find out that she was in movies already in like the late 90s, early 2000s, like she was in Doom, which I remember coming out in the early 2000s when I was in college, and I found that out. I was like, wait, how old is Rosamund Pike? Because I was under the impression she was very young.
That's why she was cast, because you just cannot.
You can't tell.
Yeah, and because it gives that air of mystery as well that surrounds her. Yeah, no, and did you also read that they were that it was Reese Witherspoon, so another one of our nominees this year? She bought the rights, she wanted to make it and produce it, and was in consideration for playing Amy Dunn. And then she had one meeting with David Fincher, and I think they were both like, "Yeah, no, this is not going to work."
I saw that in the credits.
Discuss. What do we think if the role is played by Reese Witherspoon?
I think Reese Witherspoon's darkest role to me is Tracy Flick in Election. That girl is almost to the level of Amy Dunn, psychoticness, because, Tracy Flick was groomed by a man in his 40s, and she's like, yeah, I was loved, and I'm like, no, honey, you were not. Like that's terrible. She's from Tennessee, where I'm from, so she's probably got too much of that sweet Southern charm about her. I'm like, and she's got a bit of a higher voice. It just, nothing about her screams, I'm going to take out this big revenge plot on my husband. she's one of those that's like, honey, I want a divorce, you know, and that's it. But like, nothing
she
about
doesn't
it
give
screams
me femme
psychotic or
fatale. No, but
cold,
I haven't
nothing.
seen. I know she was in a couple of TV shows where she kind of goes a little bit darker, but I haven't even watched those, so I don't know if this is something within her range or not, because she doesn't usually pursue these kinds of roles. I think maybe if it was a different director, I think it might have just boiled down to David Fincher is an intense guy with a vision. And if you're not going to work well together, this isn't going to be the role for you. It's not to say she couldn't do it, but I've never seen her do anything remotely resembling this.
I mean, it's interesting that he, or maybe it was a mutual decision, that it wasn't right for Witherspoon. It's interesting that that decision was made, but yet when he was doing Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, he went and cast Rudy Mara, who at the time, of course, was, I think she was coming off, Carol was before? Yeah, no, Carol was after? Okay. But she was Social
No,
Network.
Carol
Exactly.
was after.
So she had this,
Social Network was
girl
before.
next door, cutesy kind of persona, I guess. And then when she was cast as Lisbeth Sander, everybody was like, what? Like, how is this going to work? Look at her, how she, and then she went through the whole transformation. She pierced herself, really, you know, the earrings, the lip, the nose, the eyebrow, it's all real. She did it and lost all the weight, and you know, this typical transformation that you have to do, and then she convinced everybody, and she was fabulous. And I think, you know, that was clearly something that worked. So I think Fincher must have seen the vision, I guess, with her, even though you wouldn't necessarily have expected her to play that kind of a role. But I guess with Reese, it just wasn't. It would be very interesting to see, and I do wonder if Reese's career could have led to, you know, if she would want to change the kind of persona that she has, or people's perspective of her, which I think certainly would have happened with this role if she was able to bring it, you know, carried off. And that's the question, which it could have really. I mean, you've got to cast this role perfectly, otherwise the film is not going to work. It has to be perfect. Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of casting things perfectly, here's a terrible fun fact. Seth Rogen and Ryan Reynolds were considered to play Nick Dunn in early stages of pre-production.
No,
I don't.
Okay, Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, and Ryan Reynolds. I hated that.
Seth Rogen is a better actor than people let on. But could he do this?
The studio is great.
He's so likable.
No,
it's
I
hard
feel
to
like
believe, and he's got the persona and a reputation of playing and being these likable guys. And the few times he hasn't, I think when he did that To Protect and Serve, that movie where he's like a mall cop or a cop or something, that's like the most unlikable thing he did, and the movie bombed. And it's hard to, especially in 2014, buy that people could go into this and believe that he would be a guy who would cheat on his beautiful wife and all of that.
I wanted to say nothing against Seth Rogen. I'm sure he's a lovely person, but he's not classically attractive. How am I going to put this nicely? He doesn't match the description of Nick Dunn as he is in the book. Although, do we believe that? Another question. What is real and what's not real? But Nick Dunn is certainly, both of them are described in the book as being ridiculously attractive people. So, and I think, mileage may vary on how attractive you find Ben Affleck. Personally, I prefer him with a beard, for example. But the thing is, I mean, he's, classically attractive man, I guess. And people have also, I think, people have said that they would have preferred Reese in the role, because they find what we've been saying, the whole cool persona. They think that Rosamund Pike is almost too cold. That, when you see her, even from the very beginning, she just, with her perfect little bob that she's got, the very hard bob, very hard cut off, perfect hair, perfect everything. She doesn't exceed the kind of, warmth that I think that they think that Amy should have, certainly at the beginning when they're being all cutesy. She just has this kind of, with her
facial features. It's all quite, quite harsh. I mean, a beautiful woman, but it is quite. She's not. Whereas Reese has more of that kind of
sharp angles,
softness to her, where you're like, well. But on the other hand, what is even real about these two people? Because you've no third person narrating this to know what they really looked like, what they were really, really like. It's all, going back to our narrators here. It's all unreliable. But I find these alternative castings fascinating. I always, because it just. Yeah, here we go. We're making a movie, Gone Girl, with Seth Rogen and Reese Witherspoon. There we go. That could have worked.
It would. Ryan Reynolds would have.
But I don't really rate him that much as an actor, so
I don't know. I don't know. I don't like him that much as an actor.
He's not done anything to prove to us that he's a good actor. He's always got to wink and nod and be cheeky. Everything he does, there has to be some humor to it. But he's never really done anything like this, where if you sank your teeth into it, maybe you would be good in this. I think he could do it if he allows himself to, because I think he is one of those actors that just drifts to the stuff he knows he's comfortable in and never really needs to explore the rest.
And if you're comfortable doing that, great.
And if that makes you happy, cool.
I mean, Deadpool's making billions, so
exactly.
Come on, Ryan Reynolds, you do you buy your random football team in Wales and
your cell phone company and
your gin company, great.
True.
His wife is not doing too hot though. Bless her. Yeah. Things in the Reynolds Lively household is probably a bit
and they have 4 kids, so
stressful right now.
But they're also best friends with Taylor Swift. Their lives are not hard.
Are they though? Because she's trying to distance herself a bit since this whole. God, we're not going into pop culture. But
it ends with us. So bad. So bad. But I don't know who would be better for
he's great. I think
Nick other than
so
Affleck. Maybe Matt Damon.
Media frenzy that he was, and that's what people have said. Because he was so used to that with the whole, in the early aughts with the whole J-Lo, and then of course, just a couple of years again. But this was between, and he was he still with? I think he was still with Jennifer Garner then. But he's had so much media attention in his life, either because of his his private life, his girlfriends, fiancés, wives, whatever. So it's casting him. And he's always been a little bit awkward, let's be honest. I mean, there's so many memes of Ben Affleck, depressed Ben Affleck with a cigarette, standing outside going, oh. And, even when he was just with Jennifer Lopez, everybody's like, oh, he looks so unhappy. And he's like, this is just my face. I have left my house and you already have paparazzi. What are you expecting?
His RBF guys, come on.
He said, look, this is just who I am. And I'm not going to play up for the paparazzi. And you kind of see this with the Nick character, is he doesn't really want to, and he has to go and play the role, and he has to be coached into doing it, whether it's coached by Tanner Bolden. We really have not talked enough about Tyler Perry, but whether he has to be coached by him or by Margot telling him what to say, and everybody telling him what to say, that he's or saying what he thinks people want to hear, that it's kind of like how Ben Affleck has been. It's this is the media, but I don't want to play along with it. I don't want to. I am who I am, and I'm just going to go and stand outside and smoke my cigarette and have my face looking like it is. And it doesn't mean anything necessarily, So it's a very interesting casting choice.
Speaking of Tyler Perry and Tanner Bolden, those gummy bears were all CGI.
You couldn't just throw gummy bears at it?
Yes. That's what I was thinking. I was sitting there watching the movie knowing that, and I'm like, David, we just couldn't buy a $1 bag of gummy bears
somewhere. There's got a whole box behind her. I can see it.
No, I don't actually. It's an old. It contains other things, but yeah.
I mean, they could have came to your house and got a bag. I don't understand
CGI.
why it had to be CGI. Yeah,
maybe the one where he's got to catch it, but I guarantee if you gave him 3 or 4 takes, he'd do it.
Well, there's that scene with what's his face, Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man.
I know,
where
but
he has 100 odd takes to try and
he
catch
did
when
it.
he slips, and he did it eventually. Yeah. But
yeah,
that's so weird.
yeah.
Though, 'cause I was
There's
reading,
no
like,
telling how much they
IMDb,
spend on
I do
CGI.
like to read the goofs in IMDb, and they said one of them was with the gummy bears, where apparently he throws one and it lands in his collar or something here, and then the next shot it's gone. And I'm like, well, why is that a goof? It could just have slipped down his shirt. You never know. But they forgot the CGI. There we go. That explains it all. Yeah.
They forgot the CGI in.
Did you also read the
That's crazy.
Or the trivia that obviously Ben Affleck, being a director himself, he's like, I'm going to trick Fincher, because Fincher obviously has got a reputation for being super exact, and he bet with a cameraman that he could change a lens by a millimeter or something, and Fincher wouldn't notice, and the cameraman was like, he's going to notice, like, no way, and it was like teeny tiny change, so he did it, and then Fincher's like, why is this so dim? There's something not quite right about it. So, yeah.
Because he's already an Academy Award winning director at this point. Not for directing, but his movie won.
I was going to say,
Yeah, he's just very... He is so precise. If I were an actor and they were like, David Fincher wants you, I would be like, I'm sorry, but I do not think I would live up to the standards of that man.
Absolutely perfect as well. I mean, I don't think it's maybe that, Kubrick and The Shining with Shelley Duvall levels, but still, yeah.
Well, he did it in The Social Network, like I've, controversy notwithstanding about Armie Hammer, but he's talked about when he's eating that hamburger and he would have to do it for like 8 hours and his jaw hurt because he was like, I'm going to eat food that a college student would eat. And he's eating a giant cheeseburger. And then Fincher just keeps making him do it over and over and over and over and over again. 8 hours.
My sympathy is limited for Armie Hammer.
Yeah, there's probably there's probably a point where he had 2 of those burgers, and the rest he just chewed and chewed, and he had to
even
spit
just the act of chewing.
There's no way you can keep eating.
Because Fincher wants it to be just so.
Yes, your jaw is
going. And then just to really, play with his mind, he took the first shot. So. No, I don't think he did, but it would be
so
funny.
mean.
I'm just going to put him through this.
If it were, I wouldn't doubt it. That man, I don't know. And then Ben Affleck changed the cap that he wears at the airport.
Yeah, because he didn't want to wear
well. He succeeded. He succeeded, but it stalled production for 4 days. And David Fincher on the audio
want to wear?
Because
I know he doesn't like wearing a Mets cap.
Red Sox, probably.
That's what he would want to wear.
Good Boston boy.
We're out of power.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
Where's my phone? Jesus Christ.
You still there, Izaiah?
Where's my phone?
Oh.
We lost him again.
Baseball chat's killed him.
Oh no. Things to get hung up on, like, I don't like this baseball cap. Oh, shut up. You're an actor and you're being paid. Wear the stupid hat.
I mean,
just because you have
weird hang-ups at times about work,
like,
but I'm not going to be that petty. Like, I'm getting paid quite well for this, I'm sure.
Yeah. Ben Affleck, you can put on a hat for a day or 2, or however long it takes to get that shot of you walking in the airport.
Yeah. I don't know if you'd recognize. I suppose I do. When I was watching that the other day, I was like, would you recognize someone if it's all on the TV, what they're showing? Because it's all there. It's been, and the guy is literally there. And he's not. He looks like he looks. I think you'd recognize him, or would you just not expect him to be there, and therefore you might not recognize him?
Yeah, probably that more. Like, if you're watching this from a distance and you know this story is happening in Missouri, why would you expect to see this guy at like JFK or LaGuardia or something?
Yeah, which is where he's presumably gone. Yeah,
it'd be so bizarre that you might almost just go, that's not him, if you recognize him at all.
Yeah, because at least with what's her face with Amy. when she's not recognized by these people, she does look different. And you do have people look I mean, there are people who look like people, you know, that it's and she has, you know, she's got her hairband, she's got her glasses, she's got a bit of extra weight from all the salt eating.
She cut her hair a little bit.
Yes, she dyed it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
She's got the bashed in face and she covers it up a little bit. I mean, and again, you're just not going to expect it. Although this person's missing, so maybe you'd be like, well, like, that's another thing. Why did I go? Well, never mind. Let's answer my own question. They don't report it, even if they were to realize afterwards, because they must know there's something up with this, you know, girl that she's got her money back.
Yeah.
She's clearly hiding from running from something, and not quite being truthful thing. But they're not going to report that, even if they do put two and two together, because they've robbed her. So I guess that's why. Just to answer my own question there.
Yeah, well, they say in that scene, they're like, "Well, go ahead and call the cops. We know that you're on the run from somebody. Yeah. So what are you gonna? You're not gonna do anything. We're gonna take your money, and you're gonna let us, and that's gonna be the end of it." And of course, that's the turn.
There are so many times when I think that she could have been, you know, again, it's all in these you know, goofs and plot holes and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, maybe it is just literally to show how incompetent the police were, which
or not
is basically
even
what they say.
Incompetence. They believe what they're shown. They believe what they're told. They believe the evidence that is in front of them, and they're not going to do an investigation beyond that. Because why? That sounds hard. And it's plausible what we have already found. We're putting together a narrative as she has laid it out for us. We don't have any reason to believe anything else.
Yeah, except that, you know, Inspector Boney is asking, isn't she? She is questioning, but, you know, it's like, oh, don't be so mean. You know, mean girl. And
again, it's that thing of a room full of men and she's the woman in charge, and they just say, just be quiet now. We can move on.
Well, was she though in charge? Because I thought the others were the feds, that they were from the FBI, and she was the local difficult woman.
Yeah.
Woman in a room of men, and she's being the one who's asking again. Yeah.
When it turns into a national affair, then she becomes kind of the back burner person. But she's the first one on the scene, you know, marking things up with her little Post-it notes. She starts the investigation. She's the one that puts him under arrest. But it's not until it becomes a national thing that,
I like her. She's good. Another good character. It is a film with good female characters, I think.
Yeah.
They're all, you know, and again, you know, it's a female writer, so I guess, you know, if they're going to be written well, I just don't understand the criticism that says it's really misogynistic. I don't get it. Why? Like, why? I don't get that theory.
That is a strange thing to say about this movie, unless you are taking a very literal.
This is very pro Nick. Which it kind of, well, like I was saying earlier, compared to the book, it kind of does make him a little bit more positive.
They're both terrible.
They're awful people.
You're going to be pro somebody. It doesn't mean you like them or have to like them.
No, he can be absolutely not like any character in a film.
Yeah,
it's absolutely fine. It's not a problem. Not a problem. It's like everybody's flawed, right? I mean, even when you're watching, God. What example should I? Schindler's List or something. You know? Schindler's still not a great guy. You know, he saves all these people, you know, which makes him a great guy, but
getting there. Oh, here we go. The power has gone out at my house and it abruptly ended everything. Luckily, I reconnected to my hotspot and hopefully our recording will go through. I'm so sorry about this. We got the best parts of the movie covered, so I will try to edit it the best I can when it's finished uploading. I was like, okay, it's not happening. He's not coming back. I wonder if he's having an issue. So yeah, he messaged.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, I mean,
oh goodness. Yeah. Oh dear. I wonder how he's going to do that one at the end.
I don't know. Well, I don't know how we end this.
Well, it's been lovely.
Well, here, let me message. Do you want to?
You're the expert here, Betsy. You do the closing monologue here. You're the podcast host. Yeah.
We can do some closing remarks.
Yes, we'll do closing remarks.
We'll do the standard, how can people find you?
Yes, how can people find you on the internet, Betsy?
Let's see what he says. I hope he leaves all of this in, and this is like the... He doesn't know what's going on. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, we're going wild. We're going rogue on the podcast here.
Okay,
Yeah.
well let's do this then. I'm going to pretend that I know what's
your
happening here.
podcast.
This is my podcast now. So
Except
Heather,
we've both seen the film before.
Heather, do you have any closing remarks about Gone Girl before we wrap this one up?
No, but I would like to say in the Fincher the Fincher cinematic universe, I definitely think I'm moving this one up to what it was before after rewatching it. I kind of had it sort of 6, 7, and I think after seeing this, it's probably going to go up to 4, 5. I mean, my top one is Zodiac, and that's not changing anytime soon. Then we have Social Network, guess 7 as well. But then I think I'm going to slot in Gone Girl. So definitely moved up on a rewatch.
Yeah, it's a completely solid film from beginning to end. Yep. I have not spent enough time with this one. Obviously, I said I had not watched it since 2014. So the way it's so disturbing, it makes it hard for me to go back to. But also, I'm not going to say it's a bad one. This is definitely like middle top tier for me. I just think there's other Fincher movies I maybe like a little more. But there is a mood you have to be in to watch a David Fincher movie, just in general. So I'll be interested over time where this one lands. Now that I've gotten it out of my system, that I've done it again, we'll see if it's another decade before I watch it a third time.
Yeah, I think films with twists, it's always, you can't necessarily watch them that often anyway, even if it is incredibly rewatchable, because you know the twist and you know everything. And of course you can watch it and say, oh, I missed that. And it's actually obvious, because Margot's kind of telling us everything. But either you do lose something a little bit. So that's why I kind of pleased that I hadn't seen it since 2014. Because there was so much I'd forgotten.
If we go back and watch this in 2 weeks, are you going to watch it completely differently? Because yes, I watched it differently knowing what's going to happen.
Right, sure. Yeah.
But it had been 11 years since I saw it. So that's a little easier to digest.
Yeah, so you know the twist, but you forget the details. Like I said, I'd completely forgotten that the diary was entirely fabricated in that short space of time. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very well constructed movie. So
and I think it helps that she was the author and the screen. I think because she knew what to leave out. Because the stuff that I did at the beginning, I don't think any of it was particular. It's interesting.
Not necessary,
it doesn't
though.
change much.
They're well thought out edits from that very short list that you made. All right. Well, we've lost Izaiah, so I'm just going to wrap this up and close it out. So, Heather, where can people find you if they want to follow you online?
Well, I'm on all the social media at Heather J. Stewart. Betsy, where are you? Where can people find you?
Well, you can listen to my podcast with my husband. It's Never Seen It with Betsy and Trent, available wherever you find podcasts. And it's a reaction podcast where we do an intro, we watch a movie we've never seen, and then we come back immediately and talk about it. And that's the only rule, is it has to be new to one of us. So we cover all kinds of things, from horror to comedy to romance to things like Fincher movies. We were just talking the other day about, do we have enough movies we could do an entire
Zodiac. I messaged with Trent the other day and he said he's not seen it. I said, how come you don't have Zodiac? And I was really surprised to see your top 10 list and there's no Zodiac. Come on, you're a journalist thriller guy like me.
I know.
And he's like, oh, I've never seen it. I went, oh, come on.
But that just means it qualifies for the show. So.
It does. So you can do Zodiac soon.
You can find that wherever you're listening to podcasts. Otherwise, Never Seen It _pod, Never Seen It pod 1 on Twitter, Instagram. All the links are in the podcast description. So I guess thank you to Izaiah for inviting us to talk about Gone Girl. Sorry that he's not here to close this out if he has an official way of doing this. So hopefully he can make use of this and maybe he'll add some closing remarks after we finish.
We'll see what's the result. It's been lovely to talk to you, Betsy. Take care.
And Izaiah, it was lovely to talk to you as well,
even
if you're not here. And
hope your internet and electricity sorts itself soon.
Yeah. And I suppose we'll chat again some other day.
Sure we will.
All right.
Bye.
Let's see if we can figure out how to end this now.
I guess we just both click on leave and it's over.
I guess. All right.
If
Bye.
it hasn't worked, I'll see you in another couple of weeks and we'll re-record.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, I hate that the episode was cut short, but a power outage happened and I wasn't able to recover or finish any of the episode, but that's that. I hope you enjoyed it. At least we covered all the topics, including Oscars, scenes, facts, so on and so forth. Heather and Betsy, thank you so much for joining me to talk about this movie, and you are welcome to come back anytime. Thanks for listening.